The violent protests seen across America could give the impression that the country is at a war with its new president, Donald Trump. But of course, they really only give half the picture of what is in fact a deeply divided America. Caleb Mopan traveled to Ohio, a state known as Clinton country, to find out why, despite the name, people there voted for Trump.
Jobs. Jobs, jobs.
Trying to get people back to work, that was the big thing.
I think was jobs for leaving our country.
The agenda of anti-Trump protesters who insist that their values are under threat doesn't really fly out here in Ohio, a place plagued by unemployment and failing infrastructure. Can you tell us why it is that people in this area voted so strongly for Donald Trump?
I think it was because they liked what he said and what he had to do. And he's kind of proving it right now with all the stuff he's been doing.
I think he's going to turn out to be one of the best presidents we've ever had.
It's improving. It was a big blow to Clinton County when DHL left.
But I think that's improving, going to be improving.
Something about Trump's personality seems to really click with people in this part of America and other regions like it. Now, that's clearly not the case in New York and the West Coast. Outcry about Trump's recent executive order on immigration seemed to make the stance of U.S. voters pretty clear, except it didn't. Public opinion polls show that a majority of Americans actually favor Trump's travel restrictions. Back in Manhattan, we decided to show people some of the opinions that we recorded in the Trump belt about the protests which erupted and started during Trump's inauguration. People in their negative opinion of the protesters.
To me, I feel like protest is a perfectly legitimate way of expressing political beliefs.
Well, let me ask you, we went to Ohio and we interviewed some Trump supporters about all the protests that have been happening, and this is what they told us, and we want you to kind of react to what they said. Is that okay? Sure. Thank you so much. Now, all these people rioting in the cities after Trump won, breaking windows, protesting and stuff like that, do you think that they're in touch with reality?
They're just young people looking for trouble. That's all they are.
Like their rights are going to be taken away?
Yeah.
Well, how would they know? He's just beginning to govern.
So what do you want to say to those people?
I don't believe they know America. This election has proven how divided we are, and to me, this is not the way you get peace.
A lot of this country is very racist, and a lot of that comes from fear of the unknown, and maybe they're not educated enough.
When you have a population of people that only receive a certain amount of information and you don't teach people that they have to broaden their resources to then make an opinion, it's understandable where some people can form what kind of side they would be on.
I think that the only way, like what Catherine said, is that those people need to be educated better.
Trump, just like Richard Nixon in the past, talked about a silent majority that just wasn't being listened to. But now that Trump is in the White House, their voices still aren't being heard. Perhaps the problem, though, is that the other side just doesn't want to listen. Caleb Mopan, RT, New York.
Meantime, an Iraqi family is trying to take advantage of the criticism over Washington's restrictions on foreigners traveling to America by blaming President Trump.
I really, really believe this in my heart. If they would have let us in, my mom, she would have made it, and she would have been sitting right here next to me. She's gone because of him.
Well, the claim was aired on Fox News. It certainly sparked some headlines. However, it was later revealed the man was lying. His mother had died before the Trump travel restrictions came into effect. And in fact, the whole confirmation that came from an imam close to the family in question, and he spoke to us.
I know the family very well, and I know their mother has died around 22nd because the community held here a funeral home for 24 and 23rd. The banning law of Mr. Trump came, I believe, after the death of the lady. Well, unfortunately, some of the media are extreme and they're looking for a catch so they can blame President Trump. I think this banning law, the immigration law of Mr. Trump, has two sides. It's meant to prevent terrorists from coming to this country. That's good. And I still remember his statement before the election, and this is why I voted for him. And the bad side of the law, we have trouble in Iraq. Terrorists coming from north of Iraq, from Turkey, and south of Iraq, from Saudi Arabia. So he discluded, unfortunately, Mr. Trump, discluded Turkey and Saudi Arabia.
Well, it's not the first time that Donald Trump, though, has been blamed for the death of a relative. For example, this Yemeni refugee story aired on CNN.
My dad passed away because we didn't have any medicine back then in Yemen because of the siege.
Sorry.
And my mom is now recently living in a destroyed house because of the airstrikes.
Your family is suffering because our president is reckless, and his administration is incompetent.
However, both the girl and Pelosi failed to mention that the Yemeni crisis was escalated when Obama was the president. And the U.S. strongly support their Saudi allies in the fight against Yemeni rebels, as well as supplying Riyadh with billions of dollars worth of weapons for its military campaigns. In fact, over the past 8 years, under Obama, 42 separate deals were either proposed to or made with Saudi Arabia, totaling a good $150 billion.